There is some moving and shaking going on in the Indiana Fever organization because they have definitely let go of a player. Now, I know y'all thinking, what does this mean? This means Caitlin Clark return is sooner rather than later. Could that be why we did not see Caitlin come back? I mean, we did not see Caitlin travel with the team this past week. I don't know.
The Indiana Fever just made a bold move. Kira Lambert, signed as a temporary fill-in for Caitlin Clark, has already been released, and it happened fast. Now fans are connecting the dots and asking the same question: is Caitlin Clark on her way back?
The Indiana Fever have officially released Kira Lambert, a guard from overseas who Stephanie White signed on a trust me bro recommendation. Somebody who Stephanie White didn't even know existed up until about 8 days ago. Unfortunately for Kira Lambert, her time on the Indiana Fever has come, and her time on the Indiana Fever has gone. Best of luck to you and your future endeavors.
This wasn't your typical roster change. The Fever didn't cut a 7-day contract short because of poor play. It was about clearing space. And in Indiana, there's only one player big enough to clear it for.
Why is this move curious? Well, Lambert was on a 7-day deal, so the Fever could just be looking at this break knowing that her contract was going to expire anyway and not wanting to waste her time. But under the hardship rules, as that it has been, put out there and publicized, the Fever only had to release one of the two players between Odyssey Sims and Kira Lambert once Caitlin Clark was back. But one of them was going to have to go.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. Only a week ago, the Fever were so thin at point guard it looked like they'd sign anyone who could handle the ball without giving it away. That's when Kira Lambert showed up, fresh off an impressive stretch in Greece's top league. She came in with experience, confidence, and spoke about faith and blessings as if she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment.
Having the journey that I've had and just, remaining faithful, trusting God and doing the work, and just to see it all come back around and have this opportunity is awesome.
What's this opportunity in the W mean, given all that you've worked to get to this point?
Yeah. I mean, it means everything, to, again, just remain faithful and trust the process. It speaks to resiliency, it speaks to faith, and I'm really excited to be here.
What's your familiarity, if anything, with this team, with Steph, with how they want to run things?
Yeah, I've been watching the W for years. It's the best basketball in the world, so, I've been watching and
Here's where things really heat up. Lambert wasn't just a stopgap. She was brought in because the Fever were running out of point guards fast. Caitlin Clark is still out with a groin injury, Ari McDonald's year ended with a broken foot, and Sydney Carlson went down with a torn ACL. At that stage, the team was basically one step away from calling up somebody's cousin from the local rec league.
Clearly, Odyssey Sims has played herself into more of a role for the Fever. She got a bunch of minutes in the game on Sunday, 42 minutes for Sims. Lambert didn't play, right? So you can see relative one to the other where the Fever were looking at things from the pecking order standpoint. Now, there's also the Sophie Cunningham injury, but to be honest, I'm not sure how that would impact things unless they felt they needed somebody at that position rather than more depth at the point.
The Fever brought Lambert in on a 7-day deal, a short trial at her dream job, but it was over almost as quickly as it started. She logged less than a minute against the Connecticut Sun on August 17th, and by Monday, she was gone. Not because she struggled, but because the team might be making room for someone bigger, someone who fills 15,000-seat arenas and keeps ESPN buzzing night after night.
We just saw the most pointless contract of all time. The most pointless 7-day of all time. Kira Lambert. They didn't even give Kira Lambert a page on the WNBA website. I'm not joking. Like, you type in WNBA.com and you look at the Fever's last game. Maybe they updated it because she actually saw the floor. Fever versus Connecticut. Kira Lambert played a grand total of 4 seconds. She played 4 seconds. It would have been better off just to not play her. Oh wait, it rounded up to 5. They didn't even give her a WNBA page. They did not even give her a
Fever fans didn't take long to piece things together. As reporter Chloe Peterson noted weeks ago, the roster was fine once Indiana signed veteran guard Odyssey Sims. If they had just stuck with her, no cuts would be needed when Caitlin Clark came back. But once Lambert joined the mix, the math was clear: someone had to go. And it wasn't Sims, the 33-year-old with more than 300 career games. It was Lambert, the temporary fill-in who talked about dreams, opportunity, and trusting the process.
Fever fans, I don't know, we might have some good news. Well, we might have some great news. Cece, my precious Cece, might be returning. Might be. You hear me? Because they just released Kyra Lambert. You hear me? She had 3 ACL tears. So she wasn't good for nothing anyway. She fragile. How you have that many ACL tears? But thank you for providing us 7 days of your presence. You hear me? We needed you to fill in. You hear me? Because the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is about to return.
Now let's look at the timing, because it lines up almost too well. ESPN first listed Caitlin Clark's return for August 12th, but that date passed. They've since shifted it to August 26th, when the Fever host the Seattle Storm. Conveniently, Indiana gets a full week off after their Sunday game against Connecticut, giving Clark the perfect window to ease back into practice. ESPN's crew even noted that this is when Coach Stephanie White expects her to return to workouts, knowing she'll need a few days before playing. And what follows that break? 2 games with Minnesota, then the August 26th matchup with Seattle, the exact stretch ESPN has circled for Clark's comeback.
That once Caitlin Clark was back, one of the 2 hardship signings was going to have to go. So that's naturally where people's heads were thinking when it was reported on the ESPN broadcast that Clark, the hope was she would return to practice this week, with target dates the 22nd, 24th, 26th, those games being thrown out as potential return dates. Now, I don't have any other updates on that. I mean, I took Stephanie White's comments as they hope still she returns at the regular season a little less confident than the
lines up. Lambert was waived right as the Fever hit their break week. Clark's projected return, the very end of that same break. The team kept veteran Odyssey Sims but cut the overseas newcomer. That's a little too neat to be coincidence. Fans see it the same way. Social media is full of Caitlin Clark countdowns, gifs, and endless speculation. And the stakes are high. The Fever sit at 18-15, just 2.5 games clear of 9th place, but still within reach of the number 2 seed. With Clark back, those bigger goals suddenly feel realistic. That's why Lambert's story stings. After 4 years overseas and success in Greece's top league, she finally earned her WNBA shot. She spoke about what it meant, about faith and trusting the process. The Fever welcomed her, and she was excited to contribute to a team she had studied and followed for years.
Can the Fever please invest in international scouts? They definitely need to invest in international scouts because I know your boy John Liquidator ain't the best advocate when it comes to overseas players, but something I would say, they play hard, bro. Those overseas players play like they got something to prove. I give them that. But far as me, I feel like we got enough talent here at home in our home country to get players. Somebody said every day I question if Amber Cox and Stephanie White are even on the same.
The reality of pro sports is unforgiving. No matter how well you fit in, when a star is ready to return, someone else has to go. Lambert wasn't cut because she lacked talent. She was cut because she was never meant to be permanent. She was a short-term solution until the real star was back, and that star is Caitlin Clark. Her return isn't just about getting back the top scorer and playmaker, though her 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds per game speak for themselves. It's about restoring the player who makes the entire system work. Coach Stephanie White has said this team becomes more dangerous with Clark, and she's right. In her absence, the Fever have grown. Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Natasha Howard have all stepped up, proving they can handle the load. So when Clark returns, she won't have to do it all. She'll be the missing piece that transforms this team into a real contender.
Throughout her second season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark has posted 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 8.8 assists per game for the Indiana Fever. Clark started the season on a tear under Stephanie White, but has since struggled to stay on the court, playing her second season as a professional. The Fever have 9 remaining games of their regular season schedule. They have a long break before their next matchup on Friday. The venue will be open, giving Clark a chance to rehab as the Fever take several days off from game action.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Right now, the Fever sit in 6th place, good enough for the playoffs, but without home court advantage. With 11 games left and Clark on the verge of returning, those bigger goals suddenly don't feel so distant. One analyst broke it down clearly. Clark has missed 20 games, and the Fever went 10-10 in that span. If she'd been healthy and they'd picked up just 5 more wins, say 15-5 instead, they'd be sitting at 23-10, right in the mix for a top seed. Even as it stands, they're only 3 games behind New York and 3.5 back of second place, and in the WNBA, momentum is everything. Clark returning for the stretch run could be the spark that flips it all. The dream. She comes back healthy, the Fever catch fire, and not only make the playoffs for the first time since 2016, they might even host a series. For this franchise, that would feel like a miracle.